June 22nd, 2019, Fort McKay First Nation Treaty Days, an annual salute to the history, cultural heritage, and community spirit held every summer. And there is reason to celebrate. There's a renewed sense of energy and enthusiasm this year. Successful businessman Mel Granjam is the newly elected chief.
Today, we open up our community to visitors and friends on behalf of our nation. Our treaty rights include rights to the area used for hunting, fishing, cultural activities, burial grounds, all within our Treaty 8 territory. I will also wear this headdress in battle, and my warriors will be there with me. We will stand for what's important. If that's what it takes, we will fight for Moose Lake.
Fort McKay is really unique as we have Cree and Dene. According to archaeological finds, we have been there for 11,000 years.
European explorers and trappers first arrived in the 1600s. The first trading post was established on the historic Voyager route that linked the rich trapping area of the Athabasca with Hudson's Bay. The post was called Little Red River. With the arrival of Europeans, a new nation of indigenous people, the Métis, joined the Cree and Dene in the region.
When I came to Fort McKay, it was a community of First Nations and Métis living together, living each other's cultures. That difference between, having a status card or a Métis card never really made a difference to us.
In 1912, the Hudson's Bay Trading Post was renamed for Dr. William Morrison McKay.
The first physician in the region came in and changed the store to his name, Dr. McKay. So we have been Fort McKay ever since then.
In 1889, Treaty 8 was signed between First Nations in the region and the Crown. Treaty 8 covers 840,000 square kilometers, an area larger than France. Treaty 8 promised that First Nations peoples who inhabited these places could live and hunt in freedom on their ancestral lands. For as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow. Fort McKay is one of Canada's most successful First Nations. Situated on the Athabasca River in northeast Alberta, about 60 kilometers north of Fort McMurray.
We have 5 pieces of reserve land on 2,300 acres of land. Our traditional territory goes from the Saskatchewan border to Wood Buffalo National Park to the Birch Mountains to the city of Fort McMurray.
Up to the 1940s, Fort McKay was an isolated community where people lived off the land.
I remember back in the day we didn't have any running water. I remember going over to the river here and in the winter chopping ice to make water or hauling snow. In the summer we'd be using 45-gallon barrels to leave underneath the east drops just to get water. So it was very tough living. It wasn't easy. And back in those days, we didn't have any technology like we have today. So there's no playing games. And back in the day, you work for a living and your parents make sure you work. You're going to have 3 meals a day in your home and you're going to work for your 3 meals.
Around the 40s and 50s, the oil sands project started up, and it totally changed everything for our community. We were no longer a remote community in the middle of nowhere. We are now ground zero of the world's second largest oil reserve.
Fort McKay has built a meaningful, respectful relationship with industry in the Athabasca oil sands. 20 large-scale projects surround the community. Agreements have resulted in hundreds of jobs, Indigenous-owned companies, and joint ventures. Construction of new homes, schools, a youth center, a radio station, a hockey rink, Nation Administration Office, and the Riverside Long-Term Care Facility for seniors.
In the early 70s and 80s, we participated with industry. We've shared the resources, per se, with industry, and we're able to share the wealth as well.
So in 1989, Fort McKay developed our group of companies. We reaped the economic benefits of providing services out there in the oil sands.
We've developed a lot, and we have a lot in the community. Good infrastructure, good systems.
90% of the nation's budget is earned from profits from its 13 companies and industry partners. Fort McKay has become a dynamic and integral part of Alberta's economic growth and diversity. But there has still been a price.
Industry has different guidelines than most. At the end of the day, the government, they need money. Oil's driving our economy, so that's what's going to outweigh the good.
If the environment's taking a licking, it is. It's being beat up bad.
We find fish in our river that have lesions and deformities. Our plants are dusty. So how is it for us when we're harvesting medicines and berries from dusty plants?
We can't hunt, we can't fish, we can't trap anywhere. We've come to a point where this is all we have.
We have lost our identity as who we are. We have lost our languages. We have lost our way of life.
Moose Lake has been left unspoiled, and Fort McKay wants to keep it pristine, where traditional hunting, fishing, trapping, and berry picking are still possible.
All the leases around this lake are already given out to developers. We've invested in Alberta's industry. Now we're asking Alberta to invest in Moose Lake.
There's a reason we have that water. We drink it, there's fish in there, we eat fish off it, and you have to respect it.
My grandfather told my sister, saying, when you're a big girl, the river is not going to be here no more. You're not going to be able to drink from the river. You're going to have to buy water like how you buy pop in the store, because the river is going to be no good. People are going to come, they're going to poison it, you won't be able to drink it.
There's no such thing as a weed. We use every root, every stem, every leaf, every berry of every single plant out there.
Living off the land and living off the water is something that you want to keep up there.
I think it's important to really keep that, because if we don't have it, then where are we going to practice?
Breathtaking. Just looking out here now, it's hard to take your focus off it. It just eats you up. It's beautiful.
I remember going to Moose Lake when I was just a little girl with my granny and my cousins. It was such a special place for me there because that's where my grandparents raised their kids. And it's always special going back there. It's even now it holds a special place in my heart.
I'm really hoping we could keep it. We need to for our next generation. Not for us only, but for our grandkids, right?
Chief Mel Granjam is passionate about saving Moose Lake. He is a traditional land user that practices hunting, gathering, fishing, and the traditional arts. Just living off the land like we did and teaching our young people how to do that.
Who's calling? See the sight? Okay, so when you're ready, we're going to take it off to safety. I think you're good to go.
Tell me one.
Yep. All right. Good one. Now that was a duck or a chicken. We got lunch.
Our young people are important because they're our future. It's important to teach them our ways of life so they can go ahead and teach our future generations.
A little deeper. A little deeper. Good.
Oh, you gotta make sure he's hooked on there.
What we're telling the industry now is that the line has drawn in the sand there where enough is enough.
Fort McKay is not against industrial development, as long as the scale and pace is responsible and leaves certain lands unspoiled. Fort McKay has vigorously opposed plans for industrial development as close as 2 kilometers from Moose Lake. The community is fighting for a 10-kilometer buffer zone and a seat at the table for every future project from start to finish. Chief Granjam and the nation launched a legal challenge and advertising campaign to educate the public, pushing the provincial government to preserve the area.
People have given me direction and they've spoken very clearly to me what's important to them. I have to execute for the community.
Fort McKay First Nation is now conducting ecological research to track potential pollution in water and plants, watching wildlife behavior and populations, inspiring new work to protect the area. Fort McKay is also working to diversify its economy beyond oil and gas, adding real estate development as one of its ventures with a $24 million residential project in Beaumont, Alberta, on the southern edge of Edmonton.
Very exciting. We have 85 multifamily units, 32 townhomes as a start. And there are talks of another project and another phase. And we're very thrilled and excited about our relationship with the town of Beaumont. This is going to be new for us. It's a first. And building relationships outside of the oil patch. That will add to our self-sufficiency, our self-reliance.
Meanwhile, a rich heritage lives on in a strong community.
It's my little bird.
76. On your marks. Get set. Hail. Go.
We're not done.
With exciting new business opportunities, new jobs, and a seat at the table in establishing environmental protections, Fort McKay is determined to carry on a practice of positive, responsible development, to provide an outstanding standard of living for its members, as well as unspoiled lands for the next generations.
With 2 young kids, I understand that there is an impact, and I guess we just have to, like we are, stick together and, put our foot down on some things and try and find innovative ways to protect the land, protect, our wildlife, preserve our culture.
We have to teach them our culture, our languages, and our traditional way of living. There is a lot of work to be done.
Okay, there you go. Industry will be here, but it's important that we develop this framework, this special area to save it for our future. The kids I brought today, they're going to be able to bring their kids out here, and their kids will bring in their kids. And that's what I want. That I retain the culture, the people, the language, the lifestyle.